All right, we're live and we'll be starting in about a minute. So you can go ahead and start logging on. And it turns out your names are always there. So unless you have a strange made up name, you can just put hi or whatever. Cole, quarantine's great. Glad, thanks for asking. Actually, it's not great, but but I'm doing all right. I could be a lot worse. I still have something to do, and I'm happy for that. All right. Most importantly here, we got to take care of something. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Try this. M is enough. Yeah. I don't want to cry. Don't want tears inside my eyes. Yeah. Don't want to make up and feel insecure. Yeah, there we go. So we took care of that. Got the song in. I'm really trying to find my. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. And of course, need to check out today's kicks. Today's kicks, kind of maroon, which matches the maroon in my FSU shirt. Don't forget, this is Thursday, so it's pick your university Thursday, right? So I picked my university, the fine university that I graduated from. I know several of you will be attending there next year, and I am absolutely counting on you, your physical presence, you getting to go for sure. Okay, and so I'm going to repeat that again. Guys, it actually puts your name to the left, so unless you've made up some funny name, all you got to do is put hello, and that'll work because it's got your name. I'm recording you every day, so you're getting to see credit. If for whatever reason you missed, don't forget you can turn in your notes to get credit. You just kind of take a picture and send them to me, so make sure you do that. Wanted to talk to you just briefly. One of the things, and it's like, guys, I know we just got another month. Now everybody has to stay at home except for when you go to the grocery store, you have to have gas or whatever. And many of you probably no longer have your part-time jobs or whatever. It's just tough. It's tough for all of us. It's tough for me. One of the things that I've been thinking about for me is it's like, what is it I've been wanting to get done at home and haven't done? Whether it be learning something, reading more, getting, in my case, there's some maintenance around the house that I normally do during the summer, and it'd be kind of nice to have it done for summer, so I'm not spending all summer doing it, especially in that sweltering heat. The attic really needs cleaning. We can do that, especially these couple of cool days we've had here. So it's like, figure out what that is for you, and maybe you can this is, think of this as kind of a gift. It's like, hey, I never have time for this. I really wanted to do it. And here's my chance. Here's my chance to do this thing. Because, it's like, I got nowhere to go. I have some excess time. In many of your cases, you're taking AP classes. It's like, hey, I'm not going to pass all these tests. Maybe you can now. Put a little bit more effort in. You've got the time. Get on YouTube. Study a couple more things. My guess is the tests are going to be the easiest test you've ever seen. You still need to be prepared, but FRQs generally are easier than multiple choice questions. You just gotta, you gotta have the base of being able to talk about stuff, and especially some explain, which means you gotta put a little bit more work into the explain piece. But we're going to get you there, so try to take advantage of that. You can do online classes. You can think about, what major. Maybe you can investigate your college major. That could be a big thing. There's just lots you can do. All right, for now, let's move on. There's a very real possibility I'm going to get kicked out of here, and I'm going to have to use, if I do, then I'm going to have to switch to Zoom. If we switch to Zoom, I'll notify you. I'll send it out via Remind, and so you'll know. And you just click the Zoom thing, boom. So it's not too bad. If we have to do that, we have to do that. I'm hoping to stay here, but we'll do what we can do. Try to remember to follow my channel. That way you get notifications. You won't miss anything. It's simple enough to do, and it's not like I don't post a lot of stuff other than this, so you're not going to get a lot of notices. we'll keep doing the same thing. On Monday, you're going to do module 34 using OneDrive forms, okay? It's due Monday morning at 9 o'clock. So that's going to look like, I'm going to give this a try, guys. Over here, give me a second. Or actually, I think, let's try this. All right, here's Edmodo. You can't read it because it's really small, but here's the bottom assignment, answer module 34 reading guide. All I gotta do is click that puppy. The form loads. Enter your email address and so on, okay? I do want to let you know there's a few questions I've answered for you. Let me see if I can find one of those. Okay, here, question 14, or question number 9. You'll see it says 14, it's actually question number 9, so that's the next thing, 15, 10, 16, 11, and so on. I haven't totally figured this stuff out, and I couldn't figure out how not to number questions. But here, it gives you the answer, but there's no asterisk saying it's a required answer, so you can just leave it blank, or you can, put, that, hey, what's the difference between the 70s and 90s Phillips curve? You can put whatever I put. It doesn't really matter. But the ones with the red asterisk, you need to answer. And I'm going to look at them, and hopefully you'll be pretty accurate. So this you have to submit, and this will definitely be for a grade, and I expect it to be turned in on time. It's a little bit longer. This is the Phillips curve. This is the one thing left you know nothing about. And so unless you've done something on the Phillips curve, this is really, really important, because they certainly could test on the Phillips curve. And I'm sure for at least some of you, you will get FRQs on the Phillips curve. So realize that's out there. Make sure you take care of that. You need to do the Unit 4 progress check. Unit 4 progress check. That'll be due Tuesday, not Monday, but Tuesday. Okay, and it'll assign FRQs also. So you got 21 questions, I think. You got 21 multiple choice questions, and you're going to have 2 FRQs. You need to do those things. The FRQs, you need to take a picture, do a PDF. You need to do something you can actually submit. And then on Tuesday, you need to have those in front of you during our assigned time period, because we're going to do something with them, but they need to be turned in first in order to get credit. This is not an optional, right? This is mandatory. So it's due Tuesday. So you have this afternoon, you have Friday, you have Saturday, you have Sunday, you have Monday afternoon, but it's due Tuesday. Okay, so try not to wait till the end. And right now, we are going to plan that our first test will be Wednesday at 9 a.m. or 6 p.m. You take it at either one, but guys, it's hard times. Like when I open the test at 9 a.m., boom, you got the test. And let's say it's 45 minutes long. At 9:45, it shuts you down. So you need to be ready at 9 o'clock. Knowing it'll end at 9:45 or 10, we'll decide. I got to figure out exactly what the test looks like. You will have 1 FRQ, not 2, but 1 FRQ. So you're going to need to do that FRQ. The FRQ may be a word one rather than a graph one. That might make it a little easier on us so we can do it. But you'll have no more than 45 minutes or an hour, so you don't have to count on it. At 10 o'clock you'll be done, or at 7 o'clock you'll be done, barring technological glitches. We'll see how we do. Hopefully it'll work out well. Okay, so one of those 2 times. I see at least one person still working. Way to go. Will you be doing review sessions like we used to? I will schedule a review session. Okay, so we'll schedule a review session on Tuesday to get you ready for the Wednesday exam. Okay, we'll schedule that for an hour, and that probably will be, well, who knows? That might be a Zoom thing. But okay, so let's move on, because we actually got work to do. We're going to cover that. I think we covered everything else. Okay, moving on. Let me get this out of the way. Maybe, or maybe not. Dang it. All right, I'm going to move to the reading guide. Okay, module 32 reading guide. Moving on, going through your answers real quick. So hopefully you got modules 32 and 33 reading guides in front of you. You can check them, make sure you understood things. Which of the following markets determines rates for the long run? It's loanable funds, right? Short run is from the Fed funds, the money market. Long run is from loanable funds, because in the long run, people consider inflation. In the short run, the interest rate on cash is 0. Okay, but in the long run, you're going to consider future inflation. Okay, check that all that apply from the increase in money supply that lowers interest rate. Lowering interest rate increases investment spending, increases consumer spending on interest-sensitive assets, and shifts, because these two increase, it shifts aggregate demand to the right. How will we submit the FRQ online? It will probably be in an answer box. Okay, so that ought to work. And do we turn in assignments by emailing them to you? You can take pictures. You can send them to me using your Remind account. You can send them using email. You can text them to me. Any of those 3 is fine with me. Just take pictures, send them to me. Make sure your picture's clear. I have not had problems reading anybody's stuff so far. So that's fine. Hey, if I don't answer your question, realize the thing scrolls and I might just have missed it. Okay, and so you can ask it again if you didn't get your answer. Explain how an increase in the money supply in the short run will lead to a shift in SRAS curve in the long run. Okay, well, the increase in the money supply, right, shifts demand. Then in the long run, remember, wages nominal are sticky in the short run, but in the long run, they increase. People start realizing it's like, hey, everyone has a job. Everyone has a job. I can ask for a raise. I get a raise. I get a raise. That raise increases the cost to businesses, who then supply less, and we return to long-run equilibrium. In other words, you can't just print money and increase the size of the economy permanently. Right now, they're printing money like crazy and just handing it to everybody to get people through. They realize that's not going to grow the economy. That what'll grow the economy is getting people back to work and having more technology, more resources, things like that. Okay. What argument can be made to support the concept of money neutrality, or that money is neutral in the long run? It's like, as you increase the supply of money without doing anything else, people have more money, they spend more money, they buy more stuff, the price of stuff goes up by that same amount. Think about it. If you double the supply of money, prices are going to double, because everybody has twice as much money, but there's no more stuff. So that's what you're supposed to think about as far as the neutrality. What causes nominal interest rates to increase in the long run? Okay, in what we just talked about. There's more money out there, people start spending it, so the demand, right? The demand for money increases, raising, initially we lower the interest rates, but in the long run, they're going to rise right back up, because people are going to want more money. All right, yeah, there we go, got it. Okay, we're up with this. Okay, what's the 45-degree line suggest? It says if you increase the money supply, you're going to increase prices. And what we've seen is, and you stats people get it, right? That's a trend line. It doesn't trend 100%, but it's very consistent and definitely a serious trend that is meaningful. Moving on. Loanable funds rate. What's the real interest rate when expected inflation hits 3%? What is the real interest rate? I don't actually remember. Seems like it was 5. I don't know why I put 8. Seems like nominal was 8, but I don't know. You if you watch the video, and hopefully you watch the video. It doesn't seem like the real interest rate was 8%. That seems like nominal, but that's just me trying to remember. All right, let's move on. Hopefully you did that work. That will make a difference. This drives me nuts. I'll sing to you while I try to, if I do that though, it's gonna, never mind. Yeah, I can't do that. Okay. It'll change where the things, so I'll just do it this way. It'll work. Moving on. Okay, how is revaluing the lira in Turkey different than reducing the money supply? Okay, if they reduce the money supply, it should create this same effect. because of the revaluing, it happens pretty much instantaneously. No one's tricked. Okay, no one's tricked. It happens almost instantaneously, but theoretically it should do the same thing because of the neutrality of money. Short run, wages sticky, long run, nominal wages, pretty, yeah, okay. Okay, that's the answer. Using self-correction has the economy above. It's what we already said, right? Sticky wages get you to here. Those wages in the long run become unsticky, right? They become flexible, they go up. That hurts aggregate supply, and we're there. It's like, guys, are you seeing? It's like, Mr. Latham, I already know this. Yeah, you do. This is reinforcing it, okay? Maybe getting a couple more details. So it's like you're getting better at this. I'm hoping when you do that progress check, you're going to be like, whoa, I actually know some of this. I feel good about it, okay? That's the idea. Okay, in the long run, changes in the money supply have no effect on real GDP. That's called the neutrality of money, right? You can't just keep printing money and make the world a better place. Okay, what happens to the short run stickiness of nominal wages when there is high inflation? Okay, this one is not a bad thing to know. With really high inflation, people get it. And so they realize, hey, my wages need to be going up all the time. I want a 10% raise a week. I want a 10% raise a month. I want my wages to double every year, whatever. As you get really high inflation, workers are going to realize it's like, hey, you know, eggs are double the price every month. And so if eggs double in price every month, then I need to double my pay every month. So with high inflation, this economy reacts really quickly. Oh, good Lord. Okay, that's right, good. Okay, what's the correlation between the money supply and the consumer price index? Direct and positive, right? You can see that, direct and positive. Everybody understand that? That's your math concept, direct and positive. I like the last answer though. I'm clueless and like it that way. I'm really picking this one because it's longer than the first. Yeah, that's Dufka. Peter Duffer has a mean sense of humor. What does it mean for the Fed to monetize the debt? Guys, this is what's happening right now. The government's going to borrow $2.3 trillion. They're going to hand it to businesses and us. The Fed is going to buy the entire $2.3 trillion in debt. So how much more debt does the government have to deal with in the public sector? And the answer is none. Okay? The Fed is going to buy all the debt. And so it's like the government didn't even do it, except for the world knows we're printing all this money, and the money's getting handed to you and me, and we're going to spend it, and there's not more stuff around. And so ultimately, when all this is said and done a year from now, we may see significantly higher inflation than the 1% to 2% we've seen. Maybe it's only 3 or 4, but the likelihood of maintaining 1 or 2% inflation is not very high at this point because we're really printing money. And guess who else is printing money? The whole rest of the world. Okay, hopefully you're with me. When the government's right to print money is called seigniorage. Okay, whatever. I don't think you'll see that on the test, but never hurts to know stuff. A reduction in the value of money held by the public is called, that one I would know, it's referred to as an inflation tax. When the government prints money and creates inflation, well, everything gets more expensive. The government kind of gets to do stuff for free. Well, somebody's got to pay it, right? Nothing's free. Well, it turns out when all the prices become higher, the interest rates become higher, that's an inflation tax. Your income goes up, you pay more in income tax, even though you're not able to buy more stuff. That's an inflation tax, okay? That's what that's referring to. That's not a bad thing to know. What's the difference between cost push and demand pull inflation, right? Cost push, we know this one, right? Cost push, aggregate supply decreases. Demand pull, aggregate demand increases, right? This right now, we may be seeing some of this. Okay, we'll see as the statistics come out. We're not going to see this because we're not buying more stuff. Well, we're buying more toilet paper, but except for toilet paper and a couple other things, we're not in, masks and all, we're not buying a lot more stuff. So we're not going to create demand pull inflation yet. This one here, just a nice thing to know. Part of the reason Trump is spending money like there's no tomorrow, because there will be a tomorrow, is in November, there's going to be an election. And if the economy crashes and burns, there's going to be a new president. And there's going to be a new Congress. And the president and the Congress don't want new people. They want to return. So they're going to spend money, and they're willing to deal with demand pull inflation. If the economy was doing so well that they had to hurt the economy, well, then people will lose their jobs. People will be like, the economy's terrible. I don't understand. I'm going to lose my job. Everybody's losing their jobs. We need a new Congress. Well, then we're going to have a new Congress. And I promise you, Congress does not want a new Congress. They want to stay exactly where they are. So they spend money the year before a big election, and you'll almost never see them say, hey, look, we got to fix inflation the year before election, because fixing inflation hurts. Perfect example is, the Florida governor closed Florida effective tonight. You're not supposed to go out for any reason other than important reasons. You can't just go out and it's like, hey, I'm going to maintain social distancing. That's not good enough. You're just not supposed to go out unless you have something you need to do. And it's like, no one wants to do that. He didn't want to do that, but he feels like he doesn't have a choice. And so that's what he did. So generally speaking, politicians don't want to do things unless they absolutely have to. Unemployment rate and the output gap. The larger the output gap, the higher the unemployment. You know that, right? We're here, that amount, right? That's our output gap. And big output gaps create big unemployment rates. And you could have an output gap, a positive output gap over here, and the unemployment rate would lower. Okay, so they have a direct relationship, or I guess an indirect relationship, because they go opposite. How does the actual unemployment rate compare to the natural rate of unemployment? Right, it goes recessions, it goes up. Demand pull inflation, it gets below. But generally speaking, they correlate closely here. And the natural rate of unemployment is right here. And you can see it stays pretty close and changes due to recessions and demand pull inflation. Cyclical unemployment, these two correlate because recessions create output gaps, and no, they don't. And higher, that word should be unemployment. Higher unemployment, not inflation. All right. And we're moving on. Hey guys, we're going quick, but you know most of this. So there's not a lot to add. If you need to take notes, you can take screenshots and get it there if you need to. Okay, money neutrality. All money neutrality is when you print money, prices are going to go up. Okay? In other words, you're not going to print money and become rich. Your country's not going to become rich because the prices will go up. So money alone can't grow the economy. That's what money neutrality means. Okay, and this is just illustrating. We've talked about this now 3 times already today, right? We print money, we increase economy, people figure it out. Nominal wages increase in the long run, bring us back to long run equilibrium. In other words, printing money doesn't work in the long run. Okay, this says the money prices and the supply of money double. What's going to happen to the economy? Well, nothing, because you're going to produce the same amount of things. Everything's going to be twice as expensive. Everybody has twice as much money, and we're good. Okay? Keep moving. Okay, this one, make sure you register this one in your head because it means something. In the long run, okay, first we print money, interest rates drop. But then people realize there's all this extra money, they spend it, the demand for money increases, so the interest rates return to where they were. So in other words, you can't keep interest rates down forever just through monetary policy. There has to be underlying economics behind it too. It's not, you can't just print money and lower interest rates. It's never that simple. Okay, we got a question. In the long run, changes in the quantity of money affect which of the following? In the long run, real output, no it doesn't, right? Doesn't do any good. Interest rates, no, remember they returned, but it does affect the price level. You're going to increase the price level ultimately. An increase in the money supply will lead to which of the following in the short run? Okay, lower, there we go, right? It will lower interest rates, drop, which causes investment to increase, which causes AD to increase, which is that one right there. Remember, that's in the short run, right? That's why we increase the supply of money. And you were supposed to answer these, and if you answer these, it will help you guys. You will learn more faster. Okay, a 10% decrease in the money supply will change the price level in the long run by 10%. Okay, all you've done is increased, there's more money out there, things are going to be more expensive, that's going to increase the demand for money. So increasing the supply of money by 10% is going to increase it. Luke wants to know if the taxes are going to increase after this. For sure, taxes will increase. We'll see what the government will probably try to figure out some way where it doesn't seem like taxes increase, but taxes will increase, guys. When all this is done, we borrowed all this money and there's consequences for it. We don't have to pay it all back, but we got to pay some of it back. And to be honest, those of us that survive this and thrive and are, have the money to pay taxes, we ought to be paying taxes. We ought to be thankful, right? You ought to be thankful that you made it and you're making so much freaking money that you need to pay lots of taxes. Don't complain about that. That's not a bad thing, right? Money neutrality means in the long run, changes in money supply have no real effect, right? It has an effect. Everything's going to be more expensive, but have no real effect on the economy. Graph of percentage increases the money supply and average annual increases the price level proves that they are correlated, right? Money is neutral in the long run. There we go. Money is neutral in the long run. It says stop, so I'm guessing. No, we don't want to stop. We're going to cover one more thing. Okay. The short and long run impacts of money. You know what? We talked about this. This is exactly what we've said like 3 times, so we're not going to worry about it. Module 32, tackle the test, the second FRQ. What you're supposed to do is shift aggregate demand to the right because of sticky wages, right? Then in the long run, shift aggregate supply to the left because nominal wages will increase. Real wages will return to their original state. And you'll return to long run equilibrium. So if you had that answer for FRQ number 2, give yourself a high five. Last but not least, module 33, which is really, really short. I'm going quick, and I think we're actually going to finish early. How about that? That's cool. A little bit of hyperinflation stuff. We've kind of covered some of this. Okay. Once again, another thing, I don't think you need to know this. I can't be absolutely certain, so I'm going to mention it and just hear me, okay? Classical economists, way back when, okay, classical economist said nothing matters. We just stay at equilibrium. And so this adjustment that we show, they said it happens very quickly, and so you don't need to worry about it. That whatever happens in the economy, recession, demand pull inflation, very quickly people will figure it out, they'll change prices, and they'll go back. Teresa says, because we are printing so much money, will it make our dollar weaker than other currencies? I don't know. When the world's fallen apart, where do you put your money? And the answer is in the United States. So probably not. And since the whole world is having to deal with this, the whole world's doing exactly the same thing. So what it may be is everybody's dollar gets devalued. Well, if everybody's dollar gets devalued, that means we stay pretty much where we are. You will see in some cases weaker countries may get really hit badly, and stronger countries not as bad. But yeah, it's going to make a difference, but only a relative difference. And so if countries are really decimated, and right now not too many are, those countries will hurt. And then the comment of our dollar is already weaker than the euro. Technically, it's not. When they pegged the euro, they pegged it against a certain measure, and it fluctuates. But if you look back, say 6 months ago to today, the dollar versus the euro has kind of gone up and down, but it hasn't changed a whole lot. But it'll always change some based on perception. And so you really got to look at over a long period of time and see what's happened over a period of, 6 months, a year, 5 years, maybe even 10 years. And what you'd see is that the dollar hasn't weakened against very many countries, maybe a little bit, but not a lot. But that's something, I tell you what, if you're really into that kind of stuff, man, there's a lot of jobs and people make a lot of money dealing in currency trading. Okay. The classical module doesn't work during periods of low inflation. Okay, during periods of low inflation, then wages are sticky, right? Inflation is 2%. Your boss isn't going to say, well, we had 0.5% inflation last quarter. I'm going to give you a 0.5% raise. You just don't get any raise, okay? And so this is where that nominal wages are sticky, and the prices of some resources are also sticky. And so that's what creates this situation, right, where we can have demand pull inflation, or we could have a recession, but in the long run, it turns around. Okay, there's seigniorage again. Okay, you already heard that. That's the right to print money. Okay, inflation erodes the purchasing power, right? The value of money, the value of the dollar equals 1 divided by price level. So the dollar decreases in value based on our price level. But remember, that decrease in value is not relative to other countries. That's relative to last year and 10 years ago and so forth. The other countries, the dollar will increase or decrease based on not only this, but based on that other country's value of their currency. Right? And if you're holding money while your dollar is devaluing, then that money is worth less. It's kind of called, that's another, how they describe an inflation tax. Holding money while the value of the dollar is declining. Got a couple minutes left. We're going to wrap it up. Go Hayek. Yeah, yay, go Hayek. Another great economist. Did I get there? Okay, I got it right. Okay, cost push, demand pull, inflation. Guys, you know what that is, okay? Cost push, supply shocks, positive or negative. Demand pull, demand shocks, positive or negative. Right now we're seeing a supply shock and a demand shock, both going the wrong way. Unemployment is already above, it's gone from 3% to 10%, although they're going to release unemployment figures and they're from 2 weeks ago. It won't show that. Next month, it'll show it big time. There's word that unemployment will go up to 30%. Yeah, it won't. That's not going to happen. You're going to be okay. That shows that. We already know that. Keep moving. Okay, this is once again, this is recessions, demand pull inflation, or this is recession, demand pull inflation, recession, demand, and back and forth. There's a big recession back in 1980, and here's some big demand pull inflation. You just see how it goes, natural rate of unemployment happens. Okay, the real quantity of money is equal to the supply of money over the price level. Yeah, that actually works. Supply of money, right? If your total supply of money over price level, that'd be the real quantity of money because that'd be adjusted for inflation. Poor girl. Okay. The money supply adjusted for inflation. Yeah, that sounds good too. Higher in the long run when the Fed buys government securities. No, that's wrong. So the answer would be D. Hopefully you got that one. In the classical model of the price level, you know what? We've run out of time. So send me just a 4 with your class period. 4 with your class period, okay? So if you're in first period, you'd send 4-1. And your name's already there for 90% of you, 95% of you. And you can listen to this and we'll wrap it up. But as long as you send your code, you're good, okay? 4 with class period. Okay, in the classical model of the price level, both the short run and long run are vertical. Okay, that's classical. You don't really need to know that, but what the heck, can't hurt. The classical model is most applicable with high inflation. And inflation tax is 1200 degrees. The result of a decrease in the value of money held by the public. Revenue generated by the government's right, that's seigniorage. We already got that. And your tackle the test FRQ, you shift aggregate demand to the right. That's everything. Unless there's any questions, make sure you sign off. You got about 30 seconds unless we have some questions. I'll try to answer any questions, but in about 30 seconds, I'm going to sign off. So make sure 4 and your class period. So 4-1, 4-6, whatever it is, all that works. Awesome. You'll get credit. Get that homework done, right? AP, go on AP Classroom. You got that. And then fill out my form. If you have any issues, contact me. You can reach me through email, through text, or through Remind messaging service, okay? So hang in there. Figure out something to make your life better, guys. Take advantage of this extra time most of us have. And it helps things not be as bad. Okay. Yeah. Survey. Okay. Whoever Sarah Raji Des is, I have no idea. So you need to tell me who you are. And Dylan, you need to not be playing. You need to be doing your homework, dude. You got a couple of things to make up, okay? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And we're going to log off. Eric, gotcha. And Kendrick, gotcha. And hopefully that's everybody signing out.